Greetings. Welcome all. We're now going live. The topic of this video is going to be recovering from my back injury this past Christmas Day. Just wanted to discuss, let you all know that still follow the channel. Those of you all that still rock with me, I appreciate you. Definitely those who continue to stay in touch with me, stay informed, stay abreast of the information. It's been a long journey. I just wanted to give you all an update, let you know I got this question earlier from someone I stay in touch with behind the scenes. And one of the reasons is I let you all know previously, this past Christmas of 2024, I injured my back. It appeared to be very serious at the time. I actually had to go set up a doctor's appointment as a result because it interfered with my job. A couple days after the injury, I had to make sure I had to call off, and that's something my employer, they weren't, particularly too happy of, but I had to remind them I'm not the type of person too who calls off that often, and even said the last time that I called off, I was actually reminded by someone high up that works in the office that they say I had worked more years in a row than I had ever called off. So what does that tell you about my work ethic? I'm just saying, not to boast or brag, but just put it out there. But things appear to be getting better on the horizon. It appears this injury I'm healing up slowly. It was pretty scary at first. I could barely walk. Interestingly, I still went over my mom's house to exchange gifts just with my immediate family, and big shout out to moms though for she gave me some of those Solanus patches. That was my first time ever using any of those, the hot ones. I just used some of the cold ones not too long ago. Those work well, exceptional, by the way, and some Tylenol that helped in the meantime. I actually had some painkillers from a previous surgery. Actually, I kept the medicine during the pandemic. I know people tell you you should throw that away, but I've talked to other people that said they don't throw their prescriptions away. And it's not a long time ago I kept up. Even after I moved, I kept my stuff sealed up. They were in the cabinets. Of course, I won't use the antibiotics stuff I had in the past. They tell you definitely throw those away. But the painkillers that was prescribed by my previous doctor when I had surgery back, actually happened to be when the year of the pandemic came in, by the way, 2020, January of that year, actually right before things got locked down. Some people were already hearing about it coming in. I think back, and I was actually working two jobs during that particular time period. When I think back, by the way, at that time I was really active. I was kind of doing semi part-time, full-time, pretty much at the other job was very demanding. I think I was full-time there pretty much. They were trying to bring me on, they were trying to get me to let my other job go. They came to me with the offer, which was pretty cool for negotiation purposes. It helps your marketable value things in the type of career field that I work in. But things are working out. It's pretty scary for me. I just wanted to let you all know I appreciate the support, the love, the prayers out there. Those of you all who reached out to me, even if I haven't had a chance to really get back. I have been on a lot of bed rest because I got so many different text messages from people, close friends, just from that people that send me messages all the time, just separate from Telegram. I hadn't even really logged into Telegram that much, but text and stuff. I had told one friend, friend through a friend, he's closer to somebody I know, that I said I let him know I didn't want him to think I was ignoring the text messages. But I said I'm not really looking at a lot of stuff. I've been trying to heal up. I did do some exercises at first until I found out some doctors actually recommend that you shouldn't try if you're feeling sore or tender. You can actually make the injury worse. But until I would suggest get a more accurate diagnosis, by the way, then proceed from there, because I was getting different advice from people that you should go to a chiropractor, but I just found out from just doing my own research and going by the symptoms that I was also showing symptoms of not only sciatica. As a result, it seemed like after the back injury, the pain had shifted to my left leg, and I'm like, I just got rid of that sciatica pain that I was dealing with at my job, especially when they had me earlier in last year. Sometime I was covering sites at a lot of schools, and sometimes when I would work dismissal, I had to be on my feet a lot. I had to stand up. It was different from my night shift that I would be on, completely different detail, and I would be in a lot of pain, and it just came out the blue. So I could have already possibly been dealing with a bulging disc that I didn't even know of, or herniated disc, as they say. Many Americans live with. Many people don't get the pain because the way their bodies are made. Some people don't feel, or it's not as severe because the disc is not pinching a nerve. If you look up, or if you've ever researched this, but I'm one of the unlucky ones, unfortunately. They said once you get to a certain age, people you're going to more likely experience these different problems. But it shot down my left side. I actually had major trouble walking. I had to tell the office manager when I came, like, I still had to come. I think that Friday was the same day we got paid, and I still work one of those jobs that still issues physical paychecks. They used to be strict on direct deposit years ago, but for whatever reason it stopped. We're still getting physical paychecks, so I had to come up there, and my boss thought I was getting better because it looked like I'm walking. I had to explain to her that the only reason I'm able to walk is, I told her when I called off from the day before, because I was supposed to work that particular morning, is that I was on painkillers, pain medicine, basically. That's how severe, how serious it was. I mean, I literally could barely walk. It actually feels like a miracle to be approximately 1 month later, and starting to seem like each day I'm getting better. My mobility is really coming back. I'm not feeling so much the back pain, but I don't want to jump the gun. I know these types of things from doing my own research, my own due diligence. There's a plethora of information, tons of videos. I'm just amazed by, people call it YouTube University, just like they say about TikTok University. But if you're patient, there's a lot of different doctors and people that give good input out there, and it appears as though that this particular injury is related to 3 different types of symptoms. I was learning about the piriformis syndrome, more specifically, that refers to a muscle in the pelvic area. I was showing symptoms of that. It seemed like after maybe I got aggravated from doing some of the exercises, but because the type of injury that I had, and just self-diagnosing myself and looking at the symptoms that I was dealing with, is probably why I'm experiencing, I was experiencing more severe symptoms of spinal stenosis. Now, currently, I'm not. I do from time to time still have pain in my left leg, but now I can actually manage the pain without, like, it seemed like it's gone down, but it's still there at times. But I can manage it even without having to take the painkillers, because I mean, I was like on those, but not to the point. I had to even told the doctor that I went to see, because he told me one of the previous prescriptions I had from a previous doctor was a controlled substance or something like that. But I looked at the ingredient, and it's actually a mix. It appears it's mixed with acetaminophen. That's what they use with Tylenol. It's a different type of non-steroidal drug, was mixed with Norco. I think the Norco was like 5 or 10 milligrams, but I don't know. I'm not an expert when it comes to that, but I only took took that very sparingly, but it was amazing separately, and I mixed things up. I know when you take I like ibuprofen because I when you take ibuprofen, it helps reduce the swelling. Doctors, a lot of them I've spoke to, even dentists, even the doctor that looked over me when I went for a checkup, and he was familiar with the situation when I explained with the symptoms and everything. Very helpful, and he actually recommended. He knew exactly what I was talking about, what I had asked for specifically, because I knew I needed a prescription to purchase this particular level strength, particular Motrin, and it does. So even despite, I made sure after I take the pills, I drink water, like my mom told me to when she gave me the Tylenol, because when you take ibuprofen, some of the side effects can mess with your, if you know about your gut health or kidneys. So I make sure every time after taking the painkillers, I drink a lot of water. I've been trying to drink more water periodically, and nutrition plays a role down the road. One of the things I know some people emphasize exercises, but you have to be careful in diagnosing your specific problem because some of these back problems can be related, just like gut health issues can be different. It's important to know what you have specifically, or you can re-aggravate the injury, or you don't know specifically, you could be doing the wrong type of exercise. It's important to learn about. So chiropractor isn't the one size fits all solution. Yes, it can be helpful, but if you are a certain age or you're showing symptoms of spinal stenosis, you may be attempting to exercises too early. There's a certain point. What I learned, I said I just needed to kind of take a step back and just let it heal. But I know some secrets myself. I used to train in martial arts, so fortunately my dexterity and things in my right leg, even in my left leg, the parts of it that I can move without a lot of trouble, actually was pretty good. I just had trouble where you can tell definitely when they have you do a test to see if it's sciatica, if you can't pull the leg, if you have pain, if you do the exercise where you're sitting down and you bend your head down and you lift your leg up and that's pain, that's how they can tell. Obviously, you can look on YouTube. Many doctors will show you how to tell the differences for sure if you have sciatica. In some instances, fake sciatica, but I believe the reasons I was showing symptoms of piriformis syndrome, sciatica can be a result because that's obviously from a pinched nerve. It's the nerve that runs along the back of the leg, both legs. Some people get it on both legs. I talked to another lady, works in security for a different company, by the way, and she told me her situation, and the guy that worked with her told me he was in the hospital for 2 weeks, by the way. So fortunately, I didn't have to go to the hospital. It wasn't that severe. I was able to manage it on my own until I was able to set up a doctor's appointment. That's even within, still working. Fortunately, my job, the one of the types of details that I'm on, I assured the office manager that I could still do the mobile, like driving or whatever, because it didn't hurt me when I was sitting down. And that's similar if you know anything about spinal stenosis. I had mainly trouble standing up, like they had me go to an event. I had to work downtown Detroit, called Nouveau, some type of Nouveau dance event. And I was starting to really want to, wasn't looking forward to it at first originally because it was this discrepancy. I didn't know if I would, my parking situation, that's a whole nother story. I won't even touch on that because that's neither here nor there. But I was in a lot of pain. Like the next day, I was still healing up. This is still kind of fresh off the injury. About a week and a half later. So I've seen gradual progress so far, and it's a miracle. I mean, I really thank God. There's things that we take for granted, just being able to walk. And I can see just right after Christmas Day, right after I went over to my mom's house, and I started to feel the effects of the injury after I sat down, and I would get back up. It was mainly in my back. Then it shifted all of a sudden. But I had trouble then just getting up And when I was walking, but it was like swollen basically. Whatever, I'm pretty sure my disc area when I was lifting a portable generator, or they call portable power station from EcoFlow that I had just bought myself. And interestingly, not too long after this ordeal, for the first time in my new apartment, my power electricity went out temporarily one particular morning, like right after I got off work. It was like right on time. I was getting ready to lay down and go to bed. It like literally shut off an hour later, like in the whole neighborhood. It just went off. So I called, I immediately called DT Energy. They gave like an estimate. That's Detroit Edison. That's what DT stands for. So I was forced to actually pull out the power station. I had it packed away. And one of the reasons I was trying to secure it, I was lifting it up, and it's super heavy. It said it's the heaviest thing I've ever ordered in the mail. It was over 100 pounds. By the way, it's one of their newer models. I think they're up to like a generation 4. I have like maybe Gen 3 of one of their power stations. It was like I got it on a fire sale. It was like a deal that you can't refuse. I call it a Godfather deal. So it's kind of like a Christmas present in advance to myself, but I felt it was important because I had another one of their power stations that's pretty older that comes from crowdfunding. Their Delta, EcoFlow Delta. I think EcoFlow, by the way, they make real good products. I trust their brand. I like their brand. I've used Goal Zero in the past from a friend of mine that recommended through REI. I'm not a big fan of Goal Zero anymore, even though I think a lot of other companies were forced to up their game, and I think EcoFlow, Anchor, and some other companies. I haven't gotten any of Anchor's products yet, but they appear to be good. Blue Yeti, they changed the technology from just regular lithium batteries to lithium phosphate, which has a major advantage if you look into that technology. I told my friend he's up on a lot of tech stuff, and I put him up on that when I found out that the new lithium phosphate technology is a lot better. But that's, neither here nor there for the time being. But that's how I injured my back, by the way. It's real serious. I had to explain to my job, hey, look, I'm not making this up because it's Christmas time. Like, I'm trying to get the time off. No, it's not about that. I said I injured myself for real. So they're like, they wanted to see basically paperwork or documentation. So I did give them that when I spoke to the doctor. So I'm on a work restriction. They requested that I do no more than 8 hours in a shift, and limit, certain things. I told them what I was capable of, and they were able to work with me. Fortunately, I'm a veteran. I've been here for quite a while, and I said I had to tell them I hadn't called off at all in the whole year, and I said, aren't we supposed to get like at least three personal days at the minimum? So you're looking at someone that's gone above and beyond a call of duty, but it is for what it is. So fortunately, things worked out. I was really close to quitting, by the way, come January, but I said, God, I'm just going by the Creator's direction, and I said, He has me, to stay a little bit longer. Some other minor, you could say, things took place, but I said, this is the path that it appears as though the Creator has me on. I'm going to try to stay steadfast and pretty much go from here. But I was close to saying, hey, I need a big break, especially after that was significant. But definitely, I feel as 1 month later, I'm actually truly amazed. By the way, that I went from hardly being able to walk to now, having just minor pain. The pain can actually be managed. Like, I just took as a precaution, kind of before I left, there was a little bit of pain in my left leg, as it's still, assume it's still healing up. But one thing the ibuprofen does is supposed to helps take the swelling down, and I use that in combination with other natural supplements. I kind of mix, but I take a combination of different supplements from ashwagandha to fish oil, vitamin E, multivitamins, different B6 complex, B12, met with methylcobalamin or folate. By the way, it's important nutrients. And then I also had some share with you guys some of my secrets from years ago. Some grow taller supplements I had from some years ago had certain types of amino acids or nutrients that can actually help, from my research, help thicken the disc, and some even deal with longevity. I did some research on something else I won't go into, by the way. It deals with sports some years ago, but I won't go into the details. But some other research I was doing, a product I'm going to order down the road, I think could be beneficial. I also have some nitric oxide, but I really didn't take the nitric oxide supplement. I think that'll help as well. I've kind of switched things around, kind of to have variety, just like your gut health. You're supposed to eat a variety of different types of foods, not the same thing, by the way, but stuff that's good for you. So your good gut buddies or your good gut bacteria can fight off the invaders and things like that. So I try to mix the natural stuff up, but at the same time, I'm definitely very disciplined when it comes to the pain pills, by the way. But I'm seeing the progress. It's a lot better in terms of I remember earlier on the first, you could say, first 2 to 3 weeks, pretty much I was taking multiple times throughout the day. Now I don't need to take them. I skip the day, or I can go a number of hours and I can sleep. I'm actually sleeping better. Uh, at times I was only able to sleep on my right side. Now with minor discomfort, I can sleep on my left side. 'Cause I happen to toss back and forth when I sleep. Sometimes that's based on the mattress you have too, by the way. If you get into some of the specifics, but that shows progress in the healing process of the human body is amazing, but it's just a blessing that I'm making progress. And when I looked into it, some people say you can't heal from spinal stenosis or certain back problems. One guy said that's going to stay with you your whole life and things. And I said that may be true for some people, but I said, hey, I'm not going to accept that because I know from my research, there's some secrets that I know. Some years ago, I remember I told you guys when I hurt my knee injury. I don't remember the exact year, but I let you guys know. I think there was a time I tore my meniscus, and at that time I didn't have any X-rays or stuff done. My friend's wife, by the way, she actually has a form of, I guess, polio, and she saw at the time that when I came over there, after I injured my knee some years ago, I was actually walking with a limp, very similar to her disability. And I actually healed that up on my own. And I went on YouTube and I learned from just watching different videos. And it was painful at first, very painful. But I fought through it. I did the exercises, excruciating pain. And I just gave advice to someone recently that I, met. I don't really know the person, but someone, I was just sharing some of the information with. But I did a lot of research, and there's some similarities between what I know about the bone density, and there's some places that do tests and things. You can build that up, and the human body is amazing. If you know about certain remedies, you can rejuvenate certain organs and things of that sort. And I know how to certain foods, by the way, that can strengthen the connective tissue and the collagen, because I explained to someone why the knee or parts of the meniscus or anterior cruciate ligament, by the way, in order for it to heal, similar to when you have your teeth pulled, and I've had dentists tell me, they're also doctors, that the clotting process, that's part of the healing process, but that area, that part of the knee, just use this as an example, you focus on the knee, that area, it needs to clot, it doesn't get good blood supply. But one of the keys is the type of nutrients that you want to send to those areas that you want to get in your body. So overall, fruits and vegetables and salads and things that is going to help. But certain, not just vitamin D, D3, it's important that you take vitamin K, helps with the absorption. Had a discussion with my friend's wife, who was a nurse, and she helped say, hey, the way I was explaining it, she said the way she interpreted, say it sounds like when you take the vitamin K with the D or D3, it helps absorb it better. And I said, yeah, that's pretty much just like they'll tell you if you take turmeric, take it with black pepper, a little bit of black pepper. There's some can explain it better. It mixes or helps carry, from what I understand, the D3 or the vitamin K helps carry the D3 into that area, because that part of the knee doesn't get good blood supply, and part of the clotting process in that area, that pain that you feel needs to heal. And there's an exercise I shared with someone once I found out about, when you sit up on something high, you swing your legs back and forth. I love that particular exercise. That helps build the synovial fluid. I did that a lot. And you also, there's supplements for to help lubricate the joints and also strengthen the joints. But your back can be interesting. I'm not going to sound like a doctor or preach to you all what I've researched. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's situation, is unique. And like I say, it's best if you once you find out more information, if you've already had x-rays, gotten a hold of your medical records, you can probably help make a better assessment, better diagnosis. I know from the symptoms I was showing so far and the progress that I've been making, it's extraordinary compared to when I was explaining to a friend. I came across a couple of videos on YouTube where people mentioned how they were able to heal up, and what type of techniques they used in being able to heal up. And one guy said I think for his video, he mentioned something about the way he sat. He had the doctor told him he had to change like his posture, and there was something you're supposed to push like your pelvic forward, because a lot of people have a tendency to slouch over, and I've had that tendency where you can be comfortable. I like to cross my legs when I'm sitting in a chair, kind of fold my legs like in a meditation, but you're really, you can also, if you're not sitting correctly, you can do damage, especially if you're still recovering from the injury, or you're not doing the right type of injury. By the way, it can actually hurt the piriformis muscle in the pelvic area, and that piriformis muscle, unlike not just the from the disc can pinch the nerve. I found out the piriformis muscle can pinch the nerve too, and that can cause sciatica as well, or what some call fake sciatica, because it can pinch the nerve. So that's why the exercises, just don't take advice until you find out more information you want to. I watch multiple videos, and your own unique situation. An example of this, where I actually self-diagnosed myself when I had surgery back in 2020. I had a lipoma, and it was first discovered. It's funny, I was at an amusement park with some relatives, and my aunt said, oh, don't go trying to self-diagnose yourself. It's funny, after the surgery, she's asking me the questions like, what did I have? And I told my brother at the time, I said, I'm the one who has it. They thought because of the big lump that I had cancer, I was about to die, because they felt it looked hideous. They said, we were always wondering what that lump was on your back or whatever. It didn't really bother me too much, but it was, maybe minor cosmetic in terms of looks, but I didn't really experience discomfort from it. They say some people don't, and they say those are not generally, it's non-malignant tumor. It's not cancers. I had already looked into it. I told them it's an Asian lady that I watched on YouTube. She goes by the name Dr. Lee. She performs these surgeries. I knew about her long before she actually really blew up bigger than what she was and became famous. And I actually sought out a private surgeon. I did this on my own, by the way, and I didn't have insurance at the time, medical insurance, by the way. Now I do, but at that time I didn't. And that upset one of my relatives when they found out. They were asking. I said, I took you guys' advice. I said, okay, I'm going to get rid of this because you guys think I'm about to die and this, that, and the other. So I went, I checked into it. I actually called Ann Arbor surgery. I called the doctor's office. I asked them, to go through the process, even for not having insurance. And at first, the one place I went through, a private surgeon, plastic surgeon, told me they weren't too big on that. Then later on, it seemed like they uh, started emphasizing about having insurance, but it's kind of seemed weird. But at first, they said it didn't really matter to them. But I paid out of the pocket for that at the time. And what I liked, the reason I trusted that particular doctor, big shout out to Dr. Raisin. And I don't know if he's still there, but the people, it was in Novi, Michigan. I found out after the surgery, they made a card for me. I think I still have it uh, somewhere, that information. I kept the notes and stuff, but a lot of stuff since I moved, I have stuff still packed away. I haven't unpacked yet, and they gave really encouraging words from what I heard. I think my mom told me they did a card for me, a doctor's note. I had to go under anesthesia, get prepared, but I paid for that whole entire surgery out of the pocket. How many people do that, by the way? And I did the research on my own. I had contacted a previous surgeon down in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and she told me she wanted to just had me ask me to take pictures, so I sent them. I wasn't embarrassed by it. I had a friend ask me what was it. He said, I was always wondering what that lump was on your back. I just thought it looked like extra muscle or something to me. But for cosmetic purposes, I said I'll get rid of it. Well, my family saw me at the amusement park some years ago. I had my shirt off down in visiting Kentucky Kingdom. So I said I went through, and the doctor confirmed as I'm telling this story. By the way, my aunt told me, "Oh no, don't self-diagnose yourself. They don't realize how smart, how brilliant I am." Not trying to boast or brag, but I do my own research. Not saying I know everything. I'm not a know-it-all, but I had told my brother at the time. I said I'm the one who has it, so I've researched it already. Trust me. If you have something like this, I know you guys think it looks hideous to you, or I'm about to die, or you think I have cancer. I even knew my cousin had went into nursing some years ago. I have a cousin that lives down in Tampa, Florida, by the way, and he was asking me questions. He's intrigued, and I told him, I think I mentioned to him about Dr. Lee. He may have known. She's also known as the pimple doctor, because I was actually thinking about seeking her out some years ago. But I said, why don't I start on the people in the state locally? And I did researched this on my own. And for the surgery, I had to put down a deposit. So some people were saying, "Oh, you should get your money back and go and get the regular health insurance." But I felt the Affordable Care Act was too high, paying out of the pocket. By the way, they wanted me to pay over $200 a month. So either way, I would have paid for it in the long run. And I just, did it a different way. I just, sold some gold and silver back at the time to pay for the surgery and put down a deposit. Then how you have to have the pre-surgical appointments and go over everything. But as an adult, that was my first major surgery ever since I was younger, going through the process when I was put under with the anesthesia. But I still had some of the medicine that was prescribed. And what I felt comfortable with Dr. Raisin, he confirmed when I first met him, he showed me practically in the same area when he looked over me, he had the same, he told me he had the same procedure done on him. And he said when he would work on me, he would actually flatten it out better than his surgeon, whoever it was that worked on him that removed it. He said did it a certain way, but he knew how to perform it where it would flatten out on my back, where it wouldn't look bulging, or kind of like the way this other surgeon did. And I felt, that made me feel really comfortable and like somebody I trusted. And I was listening to another guy on YouTube that went through a major spinal surgery and said it's important to trust the doctors, or, kind of. So that's what reason I went through Star Plastic Surgery in Novi, and I paid out of the pocket, by the way. I saw the commercials from locally from the different television stations. So I think Channel 7, I think I saw one on Fox 2, even Channel 4, all the major local stations, they would have a commercial. I don't know if they still do, by the way, but I like the work that they did and appreciative of it. So that's my story. And I still had some of the prescription medicine at the time that was painkillers that was prescribed and that came in handy, by the way, until I was able to, get some more, basically, to deal. But now it does appear it's a miracle that I'm getting better. I'm very grateful. I just want to thank God, how I went from like barely being able to walk to now having the ability where, I feel like I can beat this thing, and I'm going to come back stronger. I'm not going to accept what the one guy I met that worked in for this other security company. He's going to say, "Oh, that stays with you your whole life." Some people can be so negative, but I said I'm not accepting that. I'm going to come back stronger, and I'm going to heal from this. And I looked into how long it takes to heal for those people. Allegedly, the amounts can vary from symptoms of sciatica or spinal stenosis or piriformis syndrome. So the reason I believe I'm having similarities between the three that I named, obviously, is when I lifted something, I pulled a disc, and I probably already didn't know I had probably a bulging disc already. So that means I'm going to have to be more conscientious, more sensitive with the way that I work out and lift things and things of that sort, and on my back, by the way. And I'm also was athletic. I played sports years ago. I also self-taught, used to do backflips a lot, no hand flips. I had people ask me, I would kind of land so hard years ago. I knew all that pounding over time could possibly have things to do. So those are my glory days. But there's some secrets that I know about the human body and the rejuvenation process. But as you get older, you're fighting against macular degeneration, just even for your eyes. And nutrition is important, not just exercise, but a lot of people don't bring up nutrition. Nutrition is vital. And I'm not a health freak or nothing like that. I still eat junk food from time to time, candy, but I still know every now and then you need to get fruits or vegetables or salad in your diet, by the way. That's why I've been, fan of Tropical Smoothie Cafe. I love that place. But salads are important as well. And then I take multivitamins as well. And I looked into top-notch quality supplements from the research that I've done. By the way, I'd say to the point I have even some elder people that don't know how deep my wisdom goes, and it seems like I'm trying to outshine them. I'm trying to outstunt them, and I'm not in no competition where I'm trying to outshine anybody. I'm not into that. But people think because it's just not common that they come across a black man that's this intelligent or speaks so eloquently the way that I do sometimes, in the way that I break things down and the type of research that I do, that they think, that it's too far fetched, or they think if they study Dr. Sabi or somebody else that I'm still incorrect. But I was telling like one person in particular the type of extensive research that I've done, a particular doctor, and I said they're not like these other corrupt companies. They've gone through a lot of the red tape and things of that sort to make sure that the supplements and nutrients that they put in their products are top quality, and they're not synthetics. They get rid of a lot of the preservatives and stuff like that, and they've researched to preserve the product naturally, the longevity, but not deplete the medicinal value of their products by putting alcohol in them. Because alcohol, and I'm still a firm believer, I do not like, excuse me, liquid nutraceuticals supplements. If I discover they have alcohol, last time I went to Fresh Time, another store. It's like top notch, like Better Health and Novi, but I found another store through a friend of mine called Fresh Time in Farmington Hills, Michigan. And last time I went there, I happened to catch some products on a deal, some really good products. And one of the guys that worked there in the supplement section thought, was complimenting me on my knowledge. And I told him, well, hey, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. I just do a lot of research on things, my own research, by the way. And there's a lot of information out here. If you're hungry, you're knowledgeable, but some people think, it kind of stuns them that, like I say, to reiterate, I'm not trying to stereotype myself, but the fact that it's coming from a black man and some people, they feel it can be intimidating that they feel they're knowledgeable themselves and you're coming with knowledge that's heavier or they haven't heard of. And I can show the person right on the spot where I purchase my products from. I've used them. I even can tell you about an independent platform that was allowed to rebrand their products and use them. And I thank that individual for allowing me to learn about the other individual who works with herbalists around the entire world. And I learned this from Dr. Edward Group, by the way, that alcohol strips the medicinal properties. So when I was looking for ashwagandha supplement at Fresh Time, the first time I was there with a friend of mine before I went by myself, and they had all the supplements. I didn't see any they had a brand I noticed on the website. I said I saw it. They had one brand without the alcohol, because normally they use ashwagandha in a lot of the male vitality supplements that you can buy from two different sites that I knew about. One in particular, they would always sell out. I would buy my Super Male Vitality from. I loved it because I don't drink coffee anymore, and I work a night shift, which I'm currently at right now. So in order to keep up, I basically did something to my body, is able to alter my body or my sleep habits and things. But I used it, and it's worked wonders as far as being able to naturally use something that's more natural and be able to stay up without having to drink coffee, by the way, which, is controversial, I would say, because one herbalist lady I spoke to some years ago told me it was really bad for you and things of that. So, but I'm not an expert when it comes to that regard. I know some people are. I still love coffee, by the way, so I'm not trying to knock it, but I stopped that, and I don't mess with energy drinks. I was warning people how dangerous those energy drinks are, and I say some people out there have brands and stuff like with what's that company, Red Bull, Monster. But I tell you one thing, I actually thank my mentor after Kevin Samuels died, and this is no shade to Kevin Samuels, but my mentor told me years ago, this is a true story, and I trained under martial arts. He was my sensei, and he said that don't mess with those energy drinks because they do something to your heart called heart palpitations. And I didn't listen to him years ago. I was like, yeah, whatever. I was younger at the time, and I told him this years ago, even before I thanked him and called him after I found out Kevin Samuels died, because I used to see those in the background of a lot of Kevin Samuels videos when I happened to catch his show. I wasn't necessarily a diehard listener, but when I would catch his program, I said, and some other YouTubers I follow said this, he always had those Red Bulls in the background. And I told a guy that I worked with at Phantom Fireworks some years ago, and was it Sterling Heights? I think it was Sterling Heights, Michigan. Location. Yeah, it was the Sterling Heights location, because that's where I ran into the famous snake guy. I took a picture with him, Brian. Found out he passed away. Rest in peace to. By the way, I got a picture. My friend told me, I didn't realize he's really huge. I actually took a picture with, but I was giving advice to the young kid. He said he was going into the Marines, and he told me he was drinking those energy drinks. I told him they're dangerous. If you go on YouTube and look them up, they said they've sent people to the ER room. I'm trying to save lives here, and I saw, what I believe just without drugs alone, because there's different theories, and I won't get into all that, whether certain individuals were doing drugs or not. And I said just drinking those Red Bulls alone will take you out and can cause heart attack, or what Kevin Samuels died from. I had just found out prior he was having a heart arrhythmia, and I didn't know what that was, but I had just came across that information because I was researching a lot of different things I independently researched, like medicines, things to slow down the aging process, longevity. I had come across that information. It's like, say there's something I don't know about, I'll look it up. But I say, in my advice, humble advice, the energy drinks are dangerous, such as Monster, Red Bull, because they contain a lot of sugar. They contain caffeine on top of it. So doctors have said it's like double the dosage, uh, and it's not healthy for you. And they said all you need is just one. If you do just one per day, you really don't need more than one. But they can be addictive, because I remember. So I remember some years ago, after my mentor told me, and I didn't listen, and I started noticing, I started facing the symptoms, and said it feels like my heart is skipping a beat. And I told him many years ago, and he said, I told you, I warned you. So I called him up and thanked him for that, because I wouldn't have had no idea. And he told me that over 20 years ago. True story. Over 20 years ago. So I don't mess with, I worked with guys from working a night shift in the past. I've seen drink those Red Bulls and Monsters, and over time, those will, you're a man, they will cause a heart attack. And they're not good, especially too many of them. You're not supposed to drink no more than one in a day, by the way. So, and like I said, it has a lot of sugar, and contains, they say it's like the equivalent of 5 cups of coffee. So doctors say imagine taking all that sugar and the equivalent of 5 cups of coffee and one of those Red Bulls. So just saying, by the way. But I want to acknowledge a few in the chat. Lynn Hopper says, hey, long time no hear, my brother. Appreciate you, Lynn. Lynn says, hope all is well. Thank you for the support, for the feedback. Greatly appreciate it. Those of y'all who stayed up this late, by the way. But I'm going to wrap things up. I just wanted to let you all know what had been going on lately with me. Not sure what direction I'm going to be moving in down the road. I was tinkering around, thinking of doing a teaser video. I didn't have a lot of intel, but I did speak to one of my sources a while ago, not too long ago. I actually saw him again. We didn't really talk so much in relation to about the reset, but this particular source told me that as far as the dinars happening, this could be the year, by the way, that the dinars, Iraqi dinars, the revaluation may finally actually take place. Now, I don't get into dates and stuff like that, but I know from when I attended the private event some years ago, and the way the elites have the system set up, and the public sector, and government, they work in what do you call it, in different time periods, by the way, different seasons. So like you've heard of tax season, so there's different fiscal periods in the year. I say I will look towards March, April, and then if not in March, April, possibly July, August, and then September, October. Be looking for dates like that. I've heard in the past, allegedly, some have said maybe October. So if it does happen, maybe as late as October, that it could happen afterwards. But I don't know how it's going to roll out exactly, when people are going to be able to set up appointments with brokers or the currency exchange places, not just the banks, with brokers. But I heard it's actually already at a certain amount, but it's not been fully green lighted yet. And it actually has happened, almost happened before. There's different testimonials and actually instances that it has happened where one particular night, VIP person was exchanged, was allowed to exchange, while everybody else, they changed the rate back to the smaller denominational rate, by the way. So we'll see what comes with that. But this video was in relation to basically just sharing my testimony, my story as far as I'm healing up from my back injury on this past Christmas Day. It's a miracle. I'm very grateful, by the way, because it's amazing if you can go from barely being able to walk, those little things that we just easily take for granted, just being in pain, but I look for inspiration and things, and then I look at it like I fight not for victory, but from victory. I fight from victory, not for victory. That I will not accept when that guy, security guard, told me that's gonna stay with you your whole life. I said, nope, I'm gonna beat this. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna win. So now I can actually, the pain is actually manageable. I don't necessarily have to take the painkillers, but the reason I did take one earlier, actually before I left for work, was to help reduce the swelling, if there happens to be any swelling that's left from the ibuprofen. At the same time, taking eating nutritious food to go with it, by the way, and taking supplements appears to be accelerating the recovery process and the healing process exponentially. I'm going to try to up that because I have a plethora of supplements out there and some secrets. As we age, we have to keep up with our health because degeneration, macular degeneration. I remember I had a teacher in middle school said when after you reach a certain age, I think like 35, 36, your body's going to start aging backwards. So you go from a baby to an adult, but after you reach a certain age, it's just naturally part of the natural process. But technology, medical science is making major advancements, achievements. If you keep your eyeglasses on and you're paying attention, it's just my theory, as well as others, that some of the ruling class elite don't want people to know or access the med bed machines, or I found out from doing research, also known as the celestial chambers or hyperbaric chambers. I remember the music artist many years ago, Michael Jackson, used to sleep in a hyperbaric chamber. And I'm assuming during that time period, it was extremely expensive, but I knew he had the wealth. He was a very wealthy man at that time. And the tabloids and stuff, I used to see it. They used to make fun of him, but I looked into those hyperbaric chambers, and they're actually used, I found out, in certain hospitals and places to treat burn victims. They become cheaper. There's different types of them. LeBron James uses a form of one in particular for part of his why he's been able to play basketball so long, part of his recovery process. You know, there's secrets and stuff, how someone can reach a certain age and still be playing. But someone had mentioned earlier, so I do know about the med beds, the celestial chambers, also the hyperbaric chambers. By the way, I've done this research already, but there's been major advancements, and they even put it in a movie symbolically, a movie called Elysium, some years ago. The actor Matt Damon played in, where a lady and her son, she was trying to get her son treatment, but the elites had went to an offshore planet and they controlled it. They had security where you couldn't get access, and some guys in the underground, a black market economy, helped develop a ship that could get them to that planet to access the technology, because the elites, their goal is they want to build a breakaway civilization. The technocrats, they're into what's that technology? They're into transhumanism. That's it. Because Yuval Noah Harari, you can look up who he is with the World Economic Forum. He was the personal advisor to Klaus Schwab. But Yuval Noah Harari says we no longer need humans, and he pushes AI, artificial intelligence. And see, the elites, they want to merge with machines, but see, they want all the life extension technology to themselves. That's what I meant to say earlier. It's of my opinion, as well as others, a certain individual I listen to, who was branded as a conspiracy theorist, this, that, and the other. His name I won't necessarily say, but I'll let some read in between the line. I agree with him listening to one of his programs. He mentions how the elites, they don't want us to access some of this life extension technology and things of that sort. They want to keep it, of course, to themselves, and then they have this type of mentality. They feel they're better than everybody else. They're arrogant, and they feel like they own the planet, they own the world, they own the air we breathe. That's why they eventually one day they're trying to figure out, or where they actually already have it in place, but they just don't have it fully implemented, called carbon credits, where they get rid of all the currency and charge you for the air that you breathe. Someone told me they put it in a movie years ago. I think that movie might have been Total Recall. I have to go back and watch it to see how close it was. But I figured out they had passed something called carbon credits, where when they get rid of currency, where your money would convert into the energy or carbon credits that you will use, your energy uses, to show you how diabolical and sick-minded these people are. But look at nature. The animals and trees and things we use the planet, the trees and stuff for everybody, and the plants and stuff, for here. But the evil ones have made a way to figure out how to charge us for these things that are supposed to be free energy. That's why they've also messed with a lot of inventors, scientists, suppressed technologies and things of that sort. It's not a coincidence from being able to hit the general public, because you had free energy, you wouldn't need a light bill anymore. If we had certain technologies were allowed to be utilized, imagine that. They want to have ways to control you. Just like I say there, the medical mafia is not into healing people. They treat the symptom, but they don't cure the cause. And I learned that from reading David Icke's book years ago. They just treat the symptom, but they don't want to cure the cause. See, you need the cause to be cured, not just treating the symptom when you look at the medical mafia. So just something to think about there. But I said a mouthful. I want to thank you all for joining me. Staying tuned to Dorsey's Resource. If you haven't done so yet, you can go over and subscribe to my newer channel at Dorsey's Resource 873. Dorsey's Resource. Based on how you type the name in, if you want to find me in the YouTube search engine, if you type in Dorsey's Resource, you may get one channel. If you type in just Dorsey Resource, it may pull up the other channel, because they play with the algorithm, even though it doesn't have to be that way. But that's proof of the censorship and things I might, discuss going to that down the road. I said this video, I'm going to try to stay out of politics for the time being. With that said, wish you all have a wonderful night, wonderful morning, wherever you are. And till next time, peace, blessings.